Hello, okay, here in this video, Nancy Grace, I don't agree with Nancy Grace 99% of the time, no lie. I've heard a lot of statements out of Nancy Grace's mouth that are feminist, they're sexist, they're complete hogwash, okay? And the division that she speaks, and being feminist herself, okay? Made me totally disagree with Nancy Grace, that's right. And so therefore I didn't like her, okay? But let me tell you something. I stand by what's right, not what's wrong, okay? And when somebody speaks what's truth and what's accurate and what's right, I don't care who they are, even if I didn't like what they've said in the past. When you're right, you're right. When you're wrong, you're wrong. So therefore, I stand by anybody who speaks the right, okay? Unbelievable to me. I was amazed when I seen this, okay? Because it came from Nancy Grace, okay? But I'm not going to slam her. No. There's no room to slam Nancy Grace on this one. Not at all. And so for the first time that I can imagine, I never thought this would happen, I had to agree with Nancy Grace. And I had to stand by her. And I will stand by her firmly on this situation because she's not being biased. She's not being sexist. She's not discriminating against anybody. She's telling it like it is, and it's 100% truth. And that's the reason I stand behind her. Okay? Otherwise, I wouldn't be standing behind her because that's not like, just the facts of life. So watch what I'm going to show you here, and you'll see why I agree with Nancy Grace for the first time in history. For myself, okay? I agree with her, and because that's the way I am. I know she's correct, and I refuse to not stand with her because she's correct. So I'm standing with her, okay? Then I got one other video I'm going to show you right behind it, okay? When you watch her, pay attention to the end of this video. Pay attention, okay? Because what you're going to see is lightning struck a tree. I know a lot of you people go, oh, well, it was just coincidence. It was just this, it was that. Nah, I don't think it was coincidence. See, Casey Anthony will get her justice. She may not get it here on earth. That's right. She may have walked and got by with killing her kid, because we all know she did. It's so obvious that she was behind the death of her child. Whether it was an accident or not, I don't know. Very well could have been an accident. But you'd never know that, considering it took her 31 days to report her child missing. She lied to authorities from day one, left him on a needless search knowing her kid was dead. Lied to authorities and said that she'd gotten a phone call and talked to her kid on the phone when her kid was dead and she knew her kid was dead. She ain't going to tell me she didn't know her kid was dead. She's full of shit. Just taking 31 days to report your child missing alone. You don't need no more than that to know that she had something to do with the kid's death. Whether the kid died by accident, drowning, which could have happened. But just the same, if your kid died by accident and drowning, it don't make sense why you wouldn't get a hold of the authorities and blah, 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 be panicked and upset and hurt because your kid died. Well, maybe because she knew it was neglect. If it was an accident that the kid drowned, then I'd have to say because she knew it was neglect, she would still be charged with neglect. But that's only if it happened that way. None of us are ever going to really know how Caylee died, but the one thing is for sure, Casey Anthony is a liar. She's behind her child's death. And somebody above, I know for all you atheists, you people don't believe in that there's a Lord or any kind of thing after life. You believe in you go back to the dirt. But I know better than that. I really do. I know better than that. You don't go back to the dirt. You're full of shit. I can pretty much back that only for the stuff I've experienced in my own personal life. But that's how come I know what I know when it comes to this. So I have to say the lightning strike in the tree, somebody's pissed off upstairs because they realize that Casey Anthony, they know Casey Anthony is behind her own child's death. Casey Anthony walked. And they're angry. And that's why the lightning struck the tree. I don't call it a coincidence. I really don't. So, but someday Casey will get her justice because she will have to confront her maker, who already knows the truth, and all of the lies in the world won't cover it. It won't work. Won't work. But meanwhile, she's going to be on the biggest power trip you've ever saw in your life. Why? Because she knows she got by with killing her kid because she has looks in a hoe. And because she has looks in a hoe and she got by with it, that's just going to furtherly make her head swell. And she's going to need to be worse than what she was before when she already knew she had power because of her looks in a hoe in today's evil, twisted, sick society. Now she's really going to be evil because now she thinks she's above everything because she got by with killing her daughter. It's fucking pathetic. Watch these two reports. Leave your comments and opinions. Next video, you'll have a good one.
And Nancy Grace, Casey Anthony will be on the street in a matter of days. You call her tot mom. You say she's guilty. What did you think of the sentencing today?
Well, frankly, I was stunned. I was stunned at the way the entire thing has unfolded. And I think that most of the public agrees with me. But the reality is, it's over. The jury has spoken. There are no do-overs in our justice system. So we have to accept what has happened and move on. I know that I will pick up the next file for the next missing child, the next unsolved homicide, and continue forward. But this will forever remain a travesty of justice.
If Nancy Grace were to bump into Casey Anthony in the mall, or if somehow you could convince her to come on your program, what would you say to her?
Well, I don't really need to know anything about the facts. I think the facts have been adequately proven by the state. But I would like to know why. But frankly, the only thing that Top Mom has ever told the truth about was Caylee's DOB, her date of birth. Everything else she's said since then has been a lie. So I really don't know what good it would be speaking to her.
We talked just before the verdict, moments before the verdict. You were convinced it was going to go.
Plus, John King, I don't think I could afford what she would charge for a sit-down interview anyway. Apparently, her lawyer has already got a talent agent, Jose Baez. I'm sure she'll soon follow. So, you know, I guess some things you just can't put a price tag on, John.
All right, well, we'll watch how that one plays out. We talked just moments before the verdict. You were convinced it was going to go the other way. I want to remind our viewers here, you were adamant when I asked you this question. Did the defense do a good enough job of saying, sure, you might think she did it, but you can't know she did it. If you have reasonable doubt, you have to come back and say not guilty.
Now, John King, there you go. You don't have to know she did it the way you just said. The state must prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. That is not a doubt founded in fancy, such as little green man could have come down and done it, John. Sure, that could have happened. But did it happen? What is a reasonable hypothesis as to what happened?
You've heard from several of the jurors now who've explained why they had that reasonable doubt. Do you accept their explanation, or I saw one interview where you said they're kooky?
Well, John, they've also said that they feel sick to their stomachs over the verdict, that they believe she is not innocent. Now, I don't know how you can reconcile that statement to other statements that they have made. I think they're having a severe case of buyer's remorse. Now they realize that they made a bad decision and they feel bad about it. I would.
I want you to listen. You mentioned Jose Baez. He was one of the lead defense attorneys moments ago. I want you to listen to his characterization of his client in this interview with Barbara Walters here.
Describe Casey Anthony. You know her now probably better than anyone else.
I think Casey is a extremely intelligent, kind, warm-hearted individual.
Do you think Casey was a good mother?
Yes, I do.
What do you make of that?
I think that he is still defending his client. I think that they have become extremely friendly over the course of the investigation and the trial. And I think that he will always defend her. His reputation is tied into defending her. So that's what I would expect him to say. I'm not surprised at all.
You say much of the public agrees with you. I think that's probably a fair statement. We've seen a lot of great outrage about this verdict. However, you're a little bit different. You are a former prosecutor. You're an attorney, so you're an officer of the court. I want you to listen to some of the things you have said about this verdict. Then we'll have a question on the other side.
Not guilty. The devil is dancing tonight. I'm not going to let some cookie jury stop justice. The Top Mom jury delivers a stunning blow to justice. It's not the first time somebody guilty has walked free. Top Mom is guilty.
Again, as an attorney, you agree you're part of a system where it's innocent until proven guilty. Do you have any remorse for saying these things? Any sense that you owe Casey Anthony an apology?
John, can I ask you, why would you ask me that? That's just so nonsensical. Because clearly, I think the evidence showed that top mom, Casey Anthony, was guilty. And to suggest that somehow, because I am a former prosecutor, because I am a crime victim myself, because I have a TV show now, that somehow that suspends my freedom of speech and frankly, my common sense. The question to me doesn't even make sense.
It in no way
top
suspends.
Mom, in my mind, has been proven guilty. And as far as any apologies, I think it should be her apologizing to the public for spending about $1 million of their money looking for a child that she says she already knew was dead. As a matter of fact, the local sheriffs and police are asking her to pay a $500,000 bill, and Texas EquiSearch is piling on over $100,000 to that. By her own defense, she knew the child was dead and yet let everyone, hundreds of volunteers, police, sheriffs, on foot, mounted patrol, ATVs, look for Caylee. The whole time she's sitting there twiddling her thumbs on Facebook.
I would in no way ever question your right to freedom of speech. That's why we're here. It's why our system is the way it is. But as you know, you've become a bit of a lightning rod here. I want you to listen to George Stephanopoulos here talking to one of the jurors. He asked her, one of the jurors who said, I had reasonable doubt, he asked her what she thought of Nancy Grace.
I have no comment on Nancy Grace. It's not fit for television.
So you do have thoughts, you're just not going to say them?
They're negative, and there's no point in it. I think a lot of things she says just fuel the fire, and they're based on nothing. And I obviously am against making decisions based on just speculation and opinions.
What do you make of this? As you know, you've caught some harpoons in the last 24 to 48 hours.
Well, how many clips of critics against me are you going to show, and how does that advance the story that Caylee was murdered and found rotting in a swampy field? But whatever. What do I think about the juror disliking me, or what I have to say? You know, I didn't enter into this to win a popularity contest, John. I don't expect to go home crowned Miss Sweet Potato. When you take a stand, when you believe in anything, and you have the guts to stand up for it, you can expect criticism. You can expect being scoffed at, being ridiculed, being made fun of. But I recall back in 1979 when my fiance was murdered, that changed my life forever. From that point on, it has been my mission to represent crime victims and to do my duty to seek justice. And just because some juror that rendered a bad verdict doesn't like me, or some defense attorney makes fun of me or talks about me, or some talking head talks about me, I don't care. That's not changing anything, because I know what is true and what is real. So you can play all the clips you want to, and it won't change a thing.
Controversial and unapologetic. Nancy Grace, thanks for your time tonight.
Can I leave this on this driveway?
Tara and her daughter left flowers in the Anthony's front yard.
You just felt like they've been through a lot.
Exactly. I couldn't imagine what they've been through.
But most folks did not bring a positive vibe. There was the familiar parade of anti-Casey Anthony signs, some mobile, some not. The Deegan family is here from New York.
Someday, Casey will receive the justice that she deserves from God.
Only here can you kill your child, end up a celebrity, and end up rich.
There was a strong concentration of sheriff's deputies again. And finally, around 2:15, the Anthonys returned home, just beating a summer storm. That same storm hit a tree next to Caylee's memorial on Suburban Drive, blew bits of bark off of it.
Maybe it's just type of sign that somebody else is looking out over this case.
That's right.
Yeah.
Maybe justice wasn't really served right now, but maybe it will be.